Drive safe. Ready to turn left. Turn left. Left, and then turn left. Turn left. Finally, we are here.
Good evening, everyone. This is John Catholic. We are International LoneStar. Before I, uh, but before I get started, there's a new update available. Uh, so I cleaned out I got rid of all my, uh, pots today, tonight, to my Chinese dinner. So, it's gonna be, turning to original label now. So, sailing. We're gonna start with Washington. Um, uh, so, oops, got 1% damage on the trailer. Sorry about that. Uh, so that's why I cleaned out my mods today. It's gonna be a better, nothing, like a better pin, nothing. So, we're gonna start,
Let's do this.
and, you'll see,
Rerouting.
the new, route advisor, and, it's gonna be, I'm gonna keep the day. So, so, let us get going. and and we're about 70 miles to Abbott. So we're going to start now. So
Keep right and then turn right. Turn right. Keep left and then turn left. Turn left. Keep right and then exit right. Exit right. straight on. Get ready to turn left. Turn left. Get ready to turn right. Turn right. Go straight on. Go straight on. Go straight on. Keep right, and then turn right. Turn right.
Our science podcast, Shortwave, where you can learn all about new discoveries and everyday mysteries and the science behind the headlines.
At 6:29, you've been listening to All Things Considered on your NPR station, News 88.7. I'm David Pittman with an update on that storm right now. That's part of a tornado warning still in effect for about 15 minutes. Right now, the National Weather Service says this storm is over Bel Air, Westview, Hunters Creek, Bunker Hill, Piney Point Village, Afton Oaks, and the River Oaks area, along with the Astrodome area, near town, Montrose, McGregor, and near Northside. That's happening right around now. And in about 5 minutes, the storm is expected to be blasting through Lawndale, Wayside, Sunnyside, South Park, Magnolia Park, Houston Gardens, Central Southwest, Gulfgate, Riverview, Pine Valley, Denver Harbor, and Port Houston. Now around 6:40, that's roughly 10 minutes from now, the storm will be hitting Settegast, Clinton Tri-Park Community, and Pleasantville. And right around 6:45, that's when we are hoping that the tornado warning will lapse and not be renewed. That'll be Jacinto City, North Shore, and El Dorado. We'll be keeping an eye on this for as long as necessary. It's 6:30.
Marketplace is supported by Twilio Segment. Segment helps every team access good data. Data that's real-time, clean, and accurate. The result is relevant customer experiences that drive real revenue. Segment.com.
The labor market, honeybees, and sheep, in that order. From American Public Media, this is Marketplace.
Marketplace is supported by Dana-Farber Cancer Institute, working to treat previously untreatable cancers through protein degradation, which can target cancer-causing proteins and destroy them. Dana-Farber.org/everywhere. And by Ninja One, the endpoint management platform that automates the hardest parts of IT and helps your employees be more productive and secure no matter where they work at ninjaone.com.
In Los Angeles, I'm Kai Risdell. It is Thursday today. This one is the 16th of May. Good as always to have you along, everybody. Let us review the data available to us so far this week, shall we? The Consumer Price Index yesterday, also retail sales. Got some corporate earnings, too, both of them very consumer adjacent. The prices we're paying, how much we're buying, retail sales, right? Also, how the companies that sell stuff to us are doing. Today, there was a very labor market approximate report. We get it every Thursday morning. First-time filings for unemployment insurance reported state by state and then aggregated nationally. The number has been, until the last couple of weeks, pretty low. 210,000 layoffs a week, give or take. But it has been inching up. That number has. Marketplace's Mitchell Hartman volunteered to read the labor market tea leaves for us today.
Here's why we pay attention to weekly state administrative data on unemployment insurance, says Ton Nguyen at consulting firm RSM.
Initial jobless claim data is one of the closest things to real-time and high-frequency data that we have on the job market.
Nguyen says some of the recent spike in claims is seasonal noise, but
zoom out, claims have been on a small upward trend since January. We don't believe it is a cause for concern at the moment. More like the labor market is cooling gradually rather than getting into trouble.
But there does appear to be growing agitation among the working public. The Conference Board reports more Americans anticipate jobs will be hard to find and employment and income will get worse in coming months. Here's Quincy Crosby at LPL Financial.
It's the consumer hearing just from where they live, their neighbors, their relatives, that perhaps the labor market is poised to soften more. We know that is when the consumer really starts to hold back spending.
And there may be more job loss than we're seeing. Michelle Evermore is an expert on unemployment insurance at the Century Foundation.
The caveat I always have about initial claims is that it doesn't necessarily measure the number of layoffs. It just measures the number of people who are laid off and then decide to apply for unemployment.
Why wouldn't laid-off workers go for their benefits?
They're relatively certain they're going to get a new job because unemployment is low.
Or they could be discouraged.
Some states have made it harder to apply. I think inflation has really eroded the value of benefits.
Only about half of states automatically adjust for inflation.
you've still got a maximum benefit in Mississippi of $235 a week, and in Florida and Tennessee, $275.
Evermore says some people may feel it's just not worth going through the bureaucratic hassle to file. I'm Mitchell Hartman for Marketplace.
Wall Street on this Thursday. You know, some days you got it, some days you don't. We'll have the details when we do the numbers. What would it take for you to start shopping at Walmart? Or if you already shop there, why? What is it that gets you in the door? I ask because public radio listeners tend to be higher income, and when Walmart reported quarterly earnings this morning, $5.1 billion for the 3 months, January through March, in case you were wondering, the retailer said it got there in part because it is making inroads with high-income shoppers. Marketplace's Nancy Marshall-Genzer has that one.
Some high-end shoppers turned to Walmart during the pandemic. Paula Rosenblum was one of them.
The first place I got toilet paper during the great toilet paper shortage was Walmart.
Rosenblum is also a retail analyst, managing partner at RSR Research. She thinks Walmart beat expectations this quarter because it won over more people like her.
I'm not embarrassed to say that I bought something from Walmart anymore.
Rosenblum has a Walmart Plus membership, which gives her free delivery on some orders, and Walmart says it's cut its delivery time.
The growth in e-commerce is potentially another way for Walmart to unlock this higher income consumer.
Blake Drosh is a senior analyst at eMarketer. He says according to his data, about 70% of Americans already have access to Amazon Prime, so Walmart has a giant mountain to climb.
So what they're going to have to do is convince people who are already Prime members to switch from Prime to Walmart Plus. It's a little bit easier if you're already shopping in the Walmart store.
But Drosh says there aren't that many Walmart stores in affluent areas. There is one in Sucharita Kadali's neighborhood in Charlotte, North Carolina. She's a retail analyst at Forrester and a Walmart shopper. She says the retailer has tailored some stores to appeal to higher-end consumers.
You'll see things like more organic products in the food aisles, or you may see more books, for instance.
Kadali says we don't know yet how successful Walmart has been. It won't say what percentage of its customers are high income. I'm Nancy Marshall-Genzer for Marketplace.
Keeping with the shopping theme here, one of the biggest destinations for home furnishings online is going IRL next week. The first Wayfair brick-and-mortar store opens next Thursday in a suburb of Chicago. The company brought in about $12 billion last year. Sales, though, have slowed since the e-commerce frenzy of the early pandemic, which we all remember. So Wayfair is following the lead of digital brands like Warby Parker, Allbirds, and Glossier, and turning to old-school physical retail to give its businesses a boost, as Marketplace's Megan McCarty-Carino reports.
Brick and mortar. Just the term sounds old-timey, but it's still how consumers make more than 80% of their purchases in the U.S., according to census data.
I've never bought anything in the furniture space online.
Jonathan Zhang is a marketing professor at Colorado State University.
I need to feel the texture, I need to sit on it, I need to see the fabric.
It's not so easy to just send back that couch that turned out to be a little more fuchsia than you expected.
These are expensive, considered purchases. It takes some time to get comfortable with it.
Adam Katz is head of physical retail for Wayfair. He says the new store will help address the friction points with buying home furnishings online, though the 150,000 square foot space will only carry a fraction of what's online.
As big as our stores, you cannot fit millions of products in there.
Instead, it will have a curated selection of about 10,000 items. Now, a single store might not itself add a huge volume of sales, says Associate Dean Anastasia Ghosh at the University of Arizona.
But kind of treat it as another way to build brand loyalty, right? Allow customers to have an experience with your brand.
She says says online consumers aren't usually very loyal. They're often motivated by convenience and price. And online advertising has gotten less effective, says James Cook, director of retail research at real estate consulting firm JLL.
We interrupt Marketplace to deliver an important update on the storm that is going through Harris County right now, producing a tornado warning now extended until 7 o'clock for southeastern Harris County, northeastern Brazoria County, and now including northwestern Galveston County. This storm now located over Magnolia Park or over 2nd Ward, moving southeast at about 45 miles an hour. And this is also affecting, at this moment, Pasadena, Deer Park, South Houston, Galena Park, Jacinto City, Cloverleaf, Clear Lake, Channelview, Greater Hobby area, and South Belt, Ellington Field. And then in about 5 minutes or so, Western Baytown and San Jacinto State Park, Webster, Morgan's Point, and the Johnson Space Center will be feeling this storm around 6:50. Again, we have an extension of that tornado warning for Harris County until 7 o'clock. That covers southeastern Harris County, and it also includes northwestern Galveston County and northeastern Brazoria County.
Tells us the United States might have more honeybees now than it ever did. Brian Walsh is the editorial director at Vox, and he wrote about how we got it so wrong and also about the bee reality today. Brian, welcome to the program.
Great to be here.
So you wrote in Time magazine like 10, 11-ish years ago, the headline was "A World Without Bees," and yet we still have it.
National Weather Service in League City has issued a flash flood warning for northwestern Liberty County until 8:30 this evening. At 6:37, Doppler radar indicated thunderstorms producing heavy rain across the area. Between 2 and 3 inches of rain have already fallen, and additional rainfall amounts of 1 to 2 inches are possible in the warned area. Flash flooding is ongoing or expected to begin shortly. Locations that will experience flash flooding include Cleveland, Shepherd, North Cleveland, Tarkington Prairie, Rye, and Evergreen. Again, a flash flood warning in effect for northwestern Liberty County until 8:30 this evening. This concludes his broadcast of the Emergency Alert System. Stay tuned to this station for further updates on severe weather conditions.
These bees going, even though they are subject to all kinds of environmental and disease threats as well, and just the sheer stress that comes with playing that role in the agricultural system.
Right, well, lay that out a little bit, right? Because, you describe bee colonies that are weakened by, travel and stress and all of this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like the big concern is something called the varroa mite, really scary thing if you see it up front. Can really destroy whole colonies. There are viruses that go with this. And then there's just simply like the fact that bees are not meant to be moved hundreds, thousands of miles to help pollinate almond trees. That's not something they can really withstand. So in the most recent survey, I believe beekeepers report losing something like almost 50% of their managed honeybee colonies. I mean, that's just the numbers who are dying essentially, and then they need to replace. And that's what we have now. They die, we get more, we keep using them over and over again.
This is a really stupid question. If all these bees are dying, where do we get more bees?
They just keep breeding them, really. I mean, that is one positive thing about bees is that they can breed very quickly, and if you put enough money into it, you will do that. So if we have something like, actually, we know exactly how many honeybee colonies we have in America as of 2022. That's 3,800,015, according to the extremely detailed Census of Agriculture.
I love the 15.
Someone's out there counting those, yeah.
No, totally. You make a comparison in this piece between that bee scare of the early 2000s and peak oil. Lay that out for us, would you?
Yeah, it's interesting because things both happened around the same time. If you remember, like in the mid-aughts, you start hearing about colony collapse disorder. At the same time, that was kind of like when we saw oil prices getting into the triple digits for the first time. There was a real concern that we were going to max out on oil, which would be catastrophic for the global economy, among other things. Fast forward to now, the world is producing more oil than ever has before. The U.S. is producing more oil than any country has ever. And that's simply a response to that economic need. When the need is great, capitalism is pretty good at actually finding a solution to it.
This is going to sound more flip than I mean it to, but what I hear here is we should monetize, like the snowy clover or take your pick endangered species to really preserve them somehow, right? Put an economic imperative behind that.
Go straight on.
I mean, there's a theory behind that. There's something called ecosystem services where, all right, what if we put a price on the value of forests, on clean water, things like that? Maybe that's what will get us to protect it. It's an idea that works in some ways. It's harder to put in practice than something here where,
find a new route.
That's putting almost like, I don't know, something like I say imaginary price, but something that's more theoretical, whereas the very fact like a farmer can make a lot of money by producing a lot of bees, taking them to California, participating in the almond crop, or obviously an oil company can make a lot of money finding a new supply of oil. That's a clear connection. I think that's why you see that happening as opposed to like, let's put these prices on nature and that'll solve everything.
Right. Just to put a punctuation mark on this, we're going to keep overworking these bees and we're going to keep having them because
a new route.
We need them and they are money, right?
That's exactly right. They will remain as busy as bees, I suppose.
Make a U-turn when possible.
With an update on the severe weather conditions moving through right now, we have a severe thunderstorm warning. It's a brand new thing that moved within the last 3 or 4 minutes. That will be covering, it would appear, all of Houston and Galveston County. And in particular, at around 6:40 this evening, the severe thunderstorms were along a line extending from Porter Heights to Spring to east of Little York, Homestead to Independence Heights to the Midwest, moving east at 45 miles an hour. 80-mile-an-hour wind gusts are associated with this storm. And again, right now, it looks like from here on out, we'll have, after those areas that I just mentioned, it looks like this storm will continue marching toward northwestern Pasadena, South Houston, Bel Air, Humble, Westview, Galena Park, Jacinto City, Hunters Creek Village, Cloverleaf, downtown Houston, the Greenway Upper Kirby area, along with Kingwood, 2nd Ward, Greens Point, Spring, Greater Heights, and Neartown, Montrose, Barrett, Memorial Park, and 4th Ward. Now, this is in addition to the tornado warning that we still have for the next 15 minutes or so. What I talked about was only a severe thunderstorm warning, again with 80-mile-an-hour wind gusts. So if you haven't already, try to take shelter the closest place that you can, the most interior room on the lowest floor, and stay away from windows. We're here at the University of Houston campus. I heard winds that seem to want to rip the doors out of the lobby here at the Melcher Center for Public Broadcasting on the main campus. But right now we don't have a good eye on what's happening currently. We have had the lights flicker here, but so far it looks like everything's intact. And again, that tornado warning until 7 o'clock for northwestern Galveston County, northeastern Brazoria County, and southeastern Harris County. Looks like western Baytown and San Jacinto State Park are getting it right now, and in about 5 minutes, we'll have Webster, Morgan's Point, and the Johnson Space Center in the crosshairs of the storm. And of course, other locations will include our big venues: Minute Maid Park, Discovery Green, TDECU Stadium, and Shell Energy Stadium. Again, the tornado warning until 7 o'clock for northwestern Galveston County, northeastern Brazoria County, southeastern Harris County. And if you're not covered by that, you will be covered by the severe thunderstorm warning that will be in effect until the top of the hour. Right now, we have some pretty severe winds. It looks like 83 degrees right now here at the UH campus, as if the temperature is relevant at all. But of course, we'll keep an eye on this and keep you updated for as long as it takes. It's 6:47.
And issue a tax receipt. If it's not in the best condition, don't worry about it. We'll take it. Call 877-252-0436 or donate online at houstonpublicmedia.org/vehicles.
Marketplace. I'm Kai Risdal. Trillions of dollars and yen and euro and assorted lesser-known currencies burble around the global economy every day. And not just because of international trade. The currencies themselves move too. Electronically, to be sure, but you get the point. Investors and traders park their money in different places for lots of different reasons. One of which is something called the carry trade. A bet, really, that those investors and traders can make more money in one country, that is to say currency, than in another. Marketplace's Sabri Benishore has our explainer.
Different countries have different economies and different problems.
Brazil's polarizing former president indicted.
A powerful earthquake has hit the east coast of Taiwan.
Japan has lost its place as the world's third largest economy. And as a result, different countries have different interest rates.
Japan has had zero rates really since the 90s.
Win Finn is global head of market strategy at Brown Brothers Harriman.
They have hiked rates recently, but they remain incredibly low compared to the rest of the world.
U.S. rates are over 5%. Mexico's are over 11%. Turkey's are over 45%. A certain type of investor looks at all that and sees a way to make money.
Boils down to borrowing in a low interest rate currency and putting it into a high interest rate currency.
Borrow some Japanese yen where you pay a super low interest rate.
Keep left.
Invest that somewhere else on the planet where you earn a high interest rate. You keep the difference. That is what is called the currency carry trade.
I can actually share my screen, right?
Paresh Upadhyay is Director of Fixed Income and Currency Strategy at Amundi US. He does a version of the currency carry trade. He opens up a spreadsheet full of economic data on different countries and regions and looks at where interest rates are high.
We like the Kazakh Tengi, the Uzbek Suma. These are all very high yielding. Some of these are super high yielding.
Some investments in Turkey are offering 51% interest. But there is, of course, a catch.
You don't jump into a country just because their interest rates are high. Those interest rates are high for a reason.
That reason could be a country's fighting a lot of inflation. Okay, understandable. It could also be the whole country, its politics, and its economy are super unstable, and you don't trust you're going to get your money back. And there's another catch.
You can have very high yields, but those yields could be more than wiped out by the volatility in the country's exchange rate.
It is all fine and good if you borrow yen, make $1 million Australian dollars, but if one day the exchange rate changes and those Aussie dollars are suddenly not worth the yen you owe back over in Japan, you're in very big trouble. This exact thing actually happened during the 2008 financial crisis.
People lost so much money.
The Australian dollar started to lose value, and investors ran for the exits, pulling as much of their money out of Australia as fast as they possibly could.
Violently selling their Australian dollars.
And trading them back into yen to pay off their yen loans. That only made things worse by making the Australian dollar even weaker and the yen even stronger.
This is how much it moved. 46.7%. Massive.
This is...
Keep left.
The National Weather Service in Lake City has issued a tornado warning until 7 o'clock for Galveston County and Harris County, along with Brazoria County. At 6:48, a severe thunderstorm was capable of producing a tornado located over San Jacinto State Park or near Channelview, moving east at 55 miles an hour. Along with tornadic activity, quarter-sized hail is associated with this storm, and it will be near Baytown and Morgan's Point around 6:55. Again, a tornado warning until 7 o'clock now for Harris, Brazoria, and Galveston counties. This concludes this broadcast of the Emergency Alert System. Stay tuned to this station for further updates on severe weather conditions.
You know what else is like a magnet? Our podcast. If you miss something on the air, you're just kind of drawn right to that podcast. You can check it out at marketplace.org or on the platform of your choice, of course. Honeybees and the agriculture economy up in the first half of the program. We are going to go back to ag here at the end. Sheep. Most of them, most sheep breeds that is, have to be sheared regularly lest their wool overwhelm them. And it used to be that selling that wool could offset some costs and bring in some extra cash, even if the sheep were intended for meat, not material. Now, though, wool prices are way down, less than a nickel a pound, especially in the Midwest, where sheep wool tends to be coarser and shorter and just not as good as some of the competition. Innovation and adaptation are the business model responses, as Rachel Cameron reports now from Harvest Public Media.
At a family farm in central Iowa, a sheep shearer leans over a ram, making smooth, clean strokes through several inches of shaggy wool. By the end of the day here, more than 100 sheep will be about 8 pounds lighter.
Keep right.
But Farmer Mary
And
Corey
then exit
says the
right.
wool won't bring in much cash.
We'll get just a few cents a pound, really.
Her husband
Exit
Tom
right.
started raising sheep in the early 1960s. He says wool was an asset back then.
Get ready to
I was
turn
able to
left.
get enough money from that wool that I could pay for their winter feed.
Turn left.
Today, I can't even pay for half the shearing.
The Coreys, like most producers in the Midwest, raise sheep for lamb meat, not so much for wool, which in this part of the country tends to be coarse. Still, farmers used to be able to get something for their wool. But as wool prices have fallen in recent years, it often costs more to shear the wool than it brings in. Jalen Whaley is a sheep field specialist with South Dakota State University Extension. She says this is one more thing that makes it hard to turn a profit raising sheep these days.
We're having a hard time keeping people in the industry.
She says wool prices are connected to global
Get ready
demand.
to turn left.
China buys the most American wool, but imports fell sharply in 2019 because of the trade war
Turn
with
left.
the U.S.
And then with the pandemic, we saw worldwide labor shortages.
COVID shut down wool processors, disrupted supply chains, and increased shipping costs. But here's the thing, sheep can't just stop growing wool. So there was a global surplus, and that pulled down wool prices even more. That's why Whaley says sheep producers have to get innovative.
And make those changes that are profitable.
Changes like finding new uses for wool. In northern Iowa, Wendy Johnson runs a farm and a business called Counting Sheep Sleep Company. She shows me some of the processed wool from her flock. It's creamy white and lightly speckled batting.
This is what fills the pillows. And it's just such a nice fiber.
And Johnson sends her wool to a mill in Minnesota where it's cleaned and turned into filler for pillows, comforters, and eye masks that she then sells online.
It's an amazing fiber, I think, because it's so completely renewable and it just grows back.
Wool is also biodegradable and can act as a natural fertilizer. That's what Megan Landis-Murphy does with wool from her ranch and others in south central Nebraska. She turns coarse wool into garden pellets.
I think wool pellets are a great outlet for this underutilized wool. And then it's also beneficial for plant enthusiasts and gardeners alike.
The pellets add nitrogen to the soil and slowly absorb and release excess moisture. Still, some producers are holding out for wool prices to go back up. Back at the farm in central Iowa, sheep shearer Ron Kilstrom takes a break before more ewes and rams are brought into the barn.
These sheep are shearing really sticky today.
He's seen some producers move towards specially bred sheep that don't produce much wool. They're called hair sheep, and they naturally shed in the spring. No shearing is necessary.
It disturbs me a little bit. Sheep should have wool on them, period.
He says, otherwise, they're like dogs that don't bark. In Polk County, Iowa, I'm Rachel Kramer for Marketplace.
Keep right. Turn left.
Marketplace is supported by Wall Street Journal's Tech News Briefing podcast. Hear what happened to Meta's big bet on the metaverse in a new series available wherever you get podcasts. And by Ascensus, who's dedicated to helping people dream bigger, aim higher, and save more for retirement. More information is available at ascensus.com.
This final note on the way out today, a hint of good news for Detroit. New data from the Census Bureau shows that that city's population actually grew last year after decades and decades of falling. Not a whole lot, mind you, an extra 1,800 people in 2023 from a year earlier on a base of 630-ish thousand, but still, good news. John Buckley, John Gordon, Noya Carr, Diane Parker, Amanda Petra, and Stephanie Seek are the Marketplace editing staff. Amir Bibawe is the managing editor. I'm Kai Risdal. We will see you tomorrow, everybody. Not a whole lot, mind you. This is APN.
And at 6:58 on a Thursday evening, you're listening to your NPR station, News 88.7. We are waiting to see if the National Weather Service will extend a tornado warning that is set to expire in about a minute and a half. It was covering all of Harris County, and it looked like it was also covering part of Galveston and Brazoria counties as well. With this fast-moving storm, it was moving at about 45 to 50 miles an hour through the county, and the last time we heard, that storm was going to be over Baytown and Morgan's Point right around now. In addition to that, of course, we have a severe thunderstorm warning in effect. It looks like until 7 o'clock. That should also be expiring. And the last we heard with that it was moving right around Spring to East Little York, Homestead to Independence Heights. That one was making about 80-mile-an-hour wind gusts. And, of course, we'll continue watching all of this for you for as long as it takes.
Support comes from Comcast Business. From Main Street to Wall Street, Comcast Business provides business solutions ranging from cybersecurity solutions to round-the-clock partnership. Powering possibilities. Restrictions apply. Now, of course, on top of everything that we've had so far, we are still under a flood watch through 7 o'clock Friday morning. If I didn't already say so, northwestern Liberty County is under a flood warning for the next hour or so, and a tornado watch, even after all the warnings expire, a tornado watch in effect for the entire area until 10 o'clock. This is your NPR station, KUHF Houston News 88.7, a service of the University of Houston.
Keep right.
83 degrees right now here at the UH campus at 7 o'clock.
Turn right.
Cohen is the line that connects all the dots of this trial. He knows most of the witnesses. And not only did he make the hush money payment to Stormy Daniels that's at issue here, he is also the person who was reimbursed for that payment by Trump. And the only person who can link Trump to what prosecutors say was the criminal disguise of those records used to pay him.
I'm Michael Barbaro. That's coming up on The Daily from the New York Times.
The Daily is supported by the United States Postal Service, offering postage stamps for purchase and checkout at more than 40,000 participating supermarkets, drugstores, office suppliers, and wholesale clubs. And by Bitwarden, committed to making life and work less stressful and more secure with the Bitwarden Password Manager for Business. Learn more at bitwarden.com. Distribution of The Daily is made possible by American Public Media.
Live from NPR News in Washington, I'm Jack Speer. Donald Trump's legal defense spent the day questioning former Trump lawyer Michael Cohen, trying to undermine his credibility as a key witness for the prosecution. NPR's Amanda Bustillo was there.
Trump's lawyer Todd Blanche spent a lot of time questioning Cohen over a 1 minute and 36-second phone call in 2016 with Trump's bodyguard. On Tuesday, Cohen testified in that phone call. He also talked to Trump about a settlement with adult film star Stormy Daniels. When questioned by Blanche, Cohen also testified that in that time, he received a series of anonymous threatening phone calls. Cohen said that on that call, he spoke with Trump's bodyguard about the harassing calls he'd received and to Trump about Daniels. Thursday morning, Blanche questioned whether that was possible in such a short call. Blanche also spent time asking Cohen about his history lying on the stand, an effort to remind the jury that oaths have been broken by Cohen. Jimena Bustillo, NPR News, New York.
The House Judiciary Committee, voting along party lines, is recommending Attorney General Merrick Garland be held in contempt of Congress. NPR's Kerry Johnson reports the dispute centers on tapes of President Biden that were made by the prosecutor who was investigating him for mishandling classified documents.
The Justice Department declined to charge President Biden with criminal wrongdoing, but a special counsel described him as a well-meaning elderly man with a poor memory. House Republicans have received transcripts of Biden's interview, but they're demanding DOJ turn over the audio recordings. The president has asserted executive privilege over those tapes. The White House says it's all a partisan attempt to chop up Biden's words for campaign purposes. Two separate House panels signaled they'd move ahead with contempt against the Attorney General. But Merrick Garland will be shielded from prosecution by the privilege assertion. Garland told reporters DOJ has gone to extraordinary lengths to accommodate Congress. Carrie Johnson, NPR News, Washington.
ChatGPT maker OpenAI says the latest version of its chatbot talks, laughs, and even sings like a human. As NPR's Bobby Allen reports, the technology can also read facial expressions and detect emotions.
The latest ChatGPT can read your mood by scanning your face. It will talk to you how you want it to in a human-like way. Here is its sarcasm.
I'm so excited for this. Nope, the sarcasm. Let's get this party started, or whatever.
In an interview with NPR, Mira Murati, the chief technology officer of OpenAI, says it's about bringing humans and machines together.
So it doesn't feel like a robot. It feels more like natural interaction. And that's what we want to enable, because ultimately we want to collaborate with them. We don't want to just send direction. We want these tools to really enhance how we create.
Researchers say the more advanced AI voice tools become, the easier they'll be used for disinformation, fraud, and impersonation. Bobby Allen, NPR News.
You're listening to NPR News in Washington. A number of animals have been observed using items as tools, and among them are southern sea otters, who use tools to catch larger prey and protect their teeth. Researchers said they observed nearly 200 sea otters along the California coast and found the animals using rocks, shells, and even discarded bottles as hammers or anvils to smash open hard-shelled prey like sea urchins, crabs, mussels, and clams. Observers say they also found the frequency of tool use among the otters varied, with some doing it more than 90% of the time. Tool use was apparently most important among female otters, who were smaller than males and when pregnant or nursing had higher calorie requirements.
Ready to roll.
An unfortunate mistake caused 1,500 people who applied for admission to Georgia State University in Atlanta to celebrate their acceptance a little early. Here's Jonathan Franklin is the story.
The applicants who sought admission for the 2024-2025 school year received a welcome email on April 29th congratulating them on their acceptance. But the university says those applicants received that email by mistake. The following day, the school sent a follow-up email explaining the error. Joanne Harold, a university spokesperson, told us that those 1,500 students were not sent an official acceptance letter, but rather, quote, communication from an academic department, welcoming those who intended to major in their prospective academic field. The university did not say what caused the error, as some have now completed their applications and have received official acceptances. Jonathan Franklin, NPR News.
Crude oil futures prices moved higher today amid continued signs of stability in the labor market. Oil up 44 cents a barrel to $79.07 a barrel in New York. I'm Jack Spear, NPR News in Washington.
Support for NPR comes from NPR stations. Other contributors include Progressive Insurance with a Snapshot, a personalized program that bases rates on safe driving habits. At Progressive.com. Not available in California or from all agents. This is NPR.
Keep right.
I'm Michael Barbaro. This is The Daily. Today, what happened when Donald Trump's most loyal lieutenant took the stand against him in the most important testimony of the hush money trial? As always, Jonah Bromwich was in the room. It's Thursday, May 16th. Jonah, the last time we dropped in on this case with you was when Stormy Daniels was on the stand last week. Today, we're talking to you because it's Michael Cohen now on the stand. And you had always explained to us from the beginning of this trial, Cohen was the prosecution's biggest weapon and potentially its biggest liability. Because as Trump's former right-hand man, he made the hush money payment at the center of this trial, without which there would be no case. But Cohen is also a proven liar with an axe to grind against Trump. So he's just an incredibly complicated figure.
That's exactly right. So Cohen is the line that connects all the dots of this trial. He knows most of the witnesses. And not only did he make the hush money payment to Stormy Daniels that's at issue here, he is also the person who was reimbursed for that payment by Trump. And the only person who can link Trump to what prosecutors say was the criminal disguise of those records used to pay him. Trump is charged with 34 felonies. Every single one of those felonies is attached to a